Hello, everybody. This is Old Buck Dell of the Two Old Bucks, episode 167, and it's our last episode of 2023. Can you believe it? And who's with me?
I'm a true believer. I would be Old Buck Dale. How's it going there, buddy?
You'll be Old Buck Dave.
I am Old Buck Dave. Did I say that I was you?
Yeah, you did.
But see, I'm old.
Everybody knows you do both voices.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, last episode, Dave. How about that?
Last episode.
What a ride so far. We'll carry on.
It's been a good ride. Yeah. Speaking of rides, we just went to the Kennedy Space Center.
You just went to the Kennedy Space Center?
Just several, 4 or 5 days ago. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. First time there. It was really an interesting trip. Really a good day. Have you been there?
I have been there, and I'm going to ask you a question
Okay.
in a minute, but I have been there, and I would recommend anybody that gets a chance to go visit that, to do that. I was really fascinated. So if you've been there, my question to you is: you take that little bus ride to that other building? There was an odd building like.
Yes, we did. We opted for the bonus bus ride.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, and you were in a room, and they didn't open any doors yet or nothing like that. Do you notice that? Is that how you did it? They dropped you off in front of the building, and you were sort of standing in a little foyer, and then they opened the doors, and you stepped inside. And what did you see?
Well, we saw an Atlas V rocket on its side.
That was a Saturn V rocket.
Excuse me, Saturn V rocket on its side. Oh man, I'm going.
That was a Saturn V rocket. Could you believe that?
That was
the
just
size of that thing.
It just goes on forever. Sitting on its side, you really get an appreciation for how big that thing was.
When you walk into that room, when I walked into that room, when I stood, there was only a few steps. It's the first thing you see was the bottom of that rocket with those engines.
Yeah.
And I said, what an amazing country that's able to build that.
In the 1960s.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, I was looking at all the little pipes and bolts and nuts and everything. And that was just the bottom of the rocket. Then you get into the building and you sort of the rockets in pieces and you kind of walk along it. But that was amazing. I didn't get a chance to see the shuttle. You got to see the shuttle, didn't you?
I did not get to see. I got to see a piece of the shuttle. We had seen the shuttle in New York Harbor a couple of years back. Got to touch it, walk around it. Yeah, but we did get to visit the different launch areas, including the historic 39A, where all the moon shots and the earlier stuff went off, and 39B, of course, and all the different ones. The one that SpaceX is using now, and another one that Bezos and his crew are using. It was interesting, and the guide was really good. The tour lasted, I think, 2.5 hours. The bus tour thing.
What did you think when you passed the actual building where they assemble those things?
The assembly building. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Something like the sixth largest one-story building in the world, or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, you think what country was able to build that?
Yeah,
put
that's
something
amazing.
like that together.
Yeah. So how do you get the rocket out? You move the sides. You open the sides of the building.
It's a big door.
Gosh, and then that crawler that goes along at like a quarter mile an hour to take it the 5 miles to the launch station. That's amazing.
I'm reliving that with you now, because had you and I been there, I probably would have never stopped talking. I was totally amazed, but I was with my lovely wife, and she's like, "Nice building,
nice building."
And I'm trying to look at the size of that. Look at the size of that. I see it's big. So what's the big deal?
Oh yeah, it was pretty spectacular, I thought.
Yeah. Okay. My recommendation is anybody gets a chance to go by there and see that. Take the kids by.
Yeah, yeah, and even at the main visitor center, there was
Yeah,
one section
definitely.
on the future of space flight, and it had all the upcoming stuff. And one building, it was the history of space exploration, and it had a lot of the capsules and uniforms and spacesuits and videos. It was great for a geek like me. It was wonderful.
And you were able to explain it to your wife, right? How excited you were about
She could tell.
it.
She could tell. She enjoyed it too. She enjoyed it too. Although we had one
She
more thing to do. We had to go to. I wanted to see the historical building, and she said, "I think I'm going to get a coffee." She says, "You let me know how that goes." She was done. We'd had a lot of miles on us at that point.
Yeah, it kind of makes you want to like go into the gift shop and get the little squeeze rocket or memento or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Actually, my wife, she decided to buy a little cap. I still have that little NASA cap that she got that day. So, well,
Oh,
there you go. We're still kids at
yeah.
heart when we see stuff that big, don't we? Like that.
Oh, yeah. That was great. I'd go back. I really would go back, and I'd go back with you, and we could have
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah, yeah. We've
real
never.
geeky buck experience.
Isn't it interesting how we could revert to something at our
Hmm.
age to be amused? You know what I mean? We knew there was a rocket, but we never saw it close up, and to be so entertained at this stage of our life, at the 77, and thinking,
Hmm.
"Wow, look at that!" And you're going, "Gee, is that big? How did they make that?" Or something.
Yeah,
That's always actually when that happens now for any reason, it's really enjoyable. It doesn't happen very often
yeah, yeah.
where we just are amazed at something we thought we knew or something, and you have this almost childlike experience.
Hmm.
And it happened there when I saw that rocket. My jaw dropped, and I would have talked to everybody and anybody at that point just to tell them how impressed I was. But those things don't happen very often. So, uh,
Well,
glad for you too.
it was great. It was great. Highly recommend it to anybody. Give yourself at least a whole day there. We did like 6 hours because we had to be somewhere else later that evening, but it was terrific.
Hey Dave, as this is our last episode
Yes,
of
it
the
is our
year.
last episode of the
Yeah, it
year, as
just
you
kind of
said.
occurred to me. I'd like to give a real shout out to all the authors, the new authors, and the people we met along the way in the writing realm and books and stuff like that area. I'd like to big shout out to them for joining us. It was a pleasure for us to meet people that actually wrote a book. I'm still amazed how difficult that is to do, and um, I want to thank you. Of course, we had a lot of fun together. We started on the premise of friendship, and our friendship has lasted decades and still going strong. And I want to give a big shout out to Vintage Vixen One.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
She's just been a pleasure to have her on and actually get in contact with her
We're
where
we're
we
going to
could
have her
talk to her more
back
often.
to co-host some episodes in 2024. We're just warning her now, so
She's a good listener, so she can prepare.
she'll know.
Yeah,
She'll know we're talking about her. Yeah.
and also, Dave, um, it was sad. We did lose a couple of friends. I lost an older gentleman who was a good friend of mine who knew me as a boy, and there's not
I
very many
recall
people
that.
left
Yeah.
that knew me as a boy, and I miss him. He passed away quietly, and then heard recently we lost another one of our classmates, and
Just last
and
week. Yeah.
yeah, when that happens, it's something like what's that wood pile? What's they call that wood pile where you stack these blocks up or something? It's like pulling one of those sticks out of that wood pile, and it's always each one makes the thing weaker and weaker.
A little bit
Is it
smaller.
Jenga or
Yeah.
something? What
Yeah.
is it? So it's sad, and I guess that's the story of life. If we get a chance to do the last episode in 2024, we'll probably have perhaps someone else that didn't reach there with us. So just wanted to say thanks to everybody, and it's been a good time. What do you think?
I agree. It's been a great year. A lot of fun. Got to meet some new people, talk to some new people. People seem to like the interview episodes. Apparently they'd rather listen to other people than us talk. So there's a message there for us.
Well, we'll keep inviting people. It's
Yeah.
I know you try your level best to get someone to do that, and they're not always. Some are. I got to gather they're too professional. I mean, maybe they've already done CBS News or something, but we run into some interesting people. Captain Jim, I want to thank him too.
Yeah, Captain Jim. Absolutely.
And
Yeah, it's been a good. Hey, I want to mention one guy. You recall when we interviewed Paul Tregourt and his wife Annie and Mary Meaney? These are the
oh yeah, over
people
in
from
France, is it?
Saint Omer, France.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got a report from Paul yesterday or the day before. Paul went to Ukraine. Okay, he actually went to Ukraine. These are the bullets from the little note he sent me. He said it was an intense 8 days. We had 6 team members, and I believe at least 4 of those were British paratroopers. They had 8 days of travel, visited 6 cities to which they delivered supplies, including 4 generators, over 900 kilograms of supplies delivered, and 5,100 kilometers traveled. That's over 3,000 miles for the Americans. He said, thanks for the people we helped, priceless. For everything else, there's MasterCard. Now, I'm going to take his little MasterCard little joke there. You can make a tax deductible contribution through rememberus.org/ways to donate. This is a U.S. arm, Solidarité Ukraine. You can get a tax deductible. You can get a tax deduction for your donation. I'm going to put a link in the liner notes for that. So, and I hope to have one of the paratroopers as a guest in 2024. See if Paul can swing that for us. He's done a lot to help us over the year, whether he knows it or not. Had some interesting episodes, and
speaking of him, I couldn't thank him enough because I'm sort of vicariously wanting to do something. There's very little I can do, but here's a man who's actually doing something.
yeah,
And we got a chance to talk to him, and you did meet him.
yes,
So
yes.
that's another plus for the old Bucks.
Yeah, that's a good point you make. A lot of us can, we wring our hands and say, "Oh, geez, I wish I could do this, or I wish things were different, or I wish things were better." And here's a guy, and he's not the only one, but here's a guy who's doing something about it. He's letting his feet do the walking here, and he's making a difference. So, hats off to Paul and Annie and Mary and all the other Saint Omer people that have opened their homes and their community to 500 refugees. Yeah.
Well, I mean, old Buckdell would say to anybody listening, it's one thing to wish you could, things would be better, or you wish you could do something different, and there's another thing to figure out a way to do it. And if you personally can't do it, I guess you could always support those who can.
There you go.
So
Yeah.
all the best to Paul.
All the best. All the best to the Ukrainians. That's most importantly. They need our help, folks. They talk to your senator. They need our help. Well, listen. Let's move on to 2023 in review. How's that sound?
Kind of getting a little nostalgic here, thinking about things, but
well, I don't want you to choke up. But yeah. So I did this. This is a sad thing here. I manually went through every episode and logged the countries we had downlogs in, and ranked the episodes based on number of listens and that sort of thing. And then 2 days later, I got an email from Buzzsprout, which is where we send the podcast to get passed out to the world, and they had done the same thing. So I guess the good news is our numbers agreed. So in 2023 we had downloads from 56 countries. Isn't that amazing? 56 countries.
Yeah, and you sent all those people $1, didn't you?
Whatever it takes, man. Whatever it takes. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, you recall our interview with Bridey Thelen-Heidel?
Yes.
Okay, that was our number one downloaded episode for 2023. And it is now our number one overall downloaded episode since day one. So she is edged past Judge Clarence Jones from who was our number one downloaded episode in 2022. So had a great story to tell us, a very, very human story, and she's out there doing it. Her book's going to come out in this fall of 2024. So best to Bridey.
Yeah, we were very happy to be a small part of that. So
Yeah.
you
And
never know.
then number two episode was our interview with Phoenix, the Ukrainian doctor who had been wounded and was recovering from his wounds and was getting ready to go back out to the front lines. That was a very touching episode. That's the episode that's had the downloads from the most countries. And I didn't write down how many countries it were, but it was incredible. It was countries all over the world were downloading that episode.
That was a very touching.
That was a tough one. That was a tough one because he talked about friends dying
And he was recuperating from
and
just
he was recuperating from his
being in the
wounds.
wrong
Yeah.
place at the wrong time.
Yeah, yeah. It was yeah, quite a guy. There's a real hero right there, Phoenix. For number three, we go back to Lake Tahoe, Tahoe Toogee. Who can forget Tahoe Toogee, the bear whisperer? He got a lot of good comments. This was the fellow that deals with urban bears
By not killing them.
by not killing them. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. He gets them out of people's houses and teaches them the things they have to do. And because he's a naturalist, he spends a lot of time in the woods observing the bear behaviors. And so he was a real interesting character. Really enjoyed every minute of that interview. And
Well,
number four is going back to Saint Omer. This is the interview with Mary Meaney and Annie Tregourt and Paul to an extent, talking about Saint Omer and the Ukrainian women the women and children that the town put up, over 500 people. So that was another really really meaningful episode for me. I thought, yeah, this boy, if we can tell people about this and get a couple people to donate to the cause or causes supporting Ukraine and supporting the immigrants, that'd be great. And number five was, you recall Frank Young talking about his year spent in India, sophomore year in college, 47 aerograms. That was also a fun episode to have, and we learned a lot about Frank, a lot about India, and he came back later and told us a little bit about his career in the Foreign Service. So that was a lot of fun.
yeah, Frank was very articulate somebody too. I enjoyed.
Yeah.
I could have talked to him a lot. He's covered a lot of territory.
A lot of
That
territory.
man has
Yeah.
seen a lot of stuff.
Yeah. And
So
looking at countries, we had this second highest downloads after the U.S., of course, was Germany. Germany came in second place in this year. So I think for next year, when we say what's new, I'm going to have to say "Was gibt's Neues" for the German listeners. And
yeah,
yeah, and of course, third was Canada, our neighbors to the north. I think they were number. Oh no, I'm not sure about 2022. I can't recall now, but so Canada came in number three. So those are the top three, and we appreciate all of them.
well,
Do we
you
end
know,
there?
I'm the old Bucks. Like I said, this all started about friendship. Um, you asked me if I wanted to do a podcast, and I asked you what was a podcast.
I do
but
remember that.
and we encouraged people to make that call to an old friend, touch base with people who are still around. Who, if you haven't talked to them in a long time, everybody had good friends when they were young, and I still encourage people to do that. There's just fewer people for me to call now. I can tell you that.
Absolutely. And also, if anybody's got interesting things to tell us or questions that you have for us, at the bottom of the show notes, you'll be able to see how to get us, the buckstoold@gmail.com, or you can use the voicemail option, and we will play your voicemail if it's interesting enough. So there's the challenge for everybody. So the other thing I would say is happy holidays to everybody. I hope you had a good 2023 and having a even better 2024.
Well, I'd like to wish everybody, of course, a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. That no drama and no trauma is what I like to say.
I like
it. That you just stay cool and calm and enjoy the ebbs and flow of the season, and hopefully nobody trips and falls or cuts their finger or something else that requires them to disrupt from their program. So I wish everybody all the best. So
all the
best. What do you think,
Dave?
We want to say thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Absolutely.
Yeah. And this is Old Buck Dell saying we'll talk to you next year.
This is Old Buck Dave saying Happy New Year. We will talk to you soon, folks. Bye-bye.